The more people come and support local artists, the more they will find art in their surroundings. I think that the minute you start participating in the process of doing any kind of art, it could be collaborative art, it could be community art, anything, any form of art, I think it immediately changes the dynamic and they become more involved in the process. They have pride in their surroundings, right? Because they've done something. It also helps to create a vibrant community, right? And if the art piece or the public art is done well, I think it also reflects on the community, right? And it is a voice for that community as well. There's no one memory that I have. It's probably a culmination of a lot of things that happened. Like I was saying, I used to be sick when I was small and as a child. So I used to read a lot because I used to be off from school a lot. And so my mom used to give me all these books and I used to read them. Many of them didn't have pictures. So when I used to read them, I used to create these kind of visuals in my mind and then I used to create them. And that's how it started, I think. And I think when I was in grade 9 or 10, I think that's when my mom realized that because of the way I was keeping, like not in good health all the time. So she decided, okay, this is probably what she should pursue. So I would probably, I think, give her more credit that she saw that I had this talent. I didn't know it as well. But she saw that there was something in this, and then probably she actually did the research and she found out which art school I should go to. And so that's how it kind of materialized. So I create murals, and when I was in art school, that's when I actually decided to take up mural as a major, because I like the way, I like the concept of it being so large and the impact it has on so many people, and how it draws in people into that, I would say, large scale painting. As for style, I would say that my style is not one style. It's more like, how would I say it? It's pretty simplistic and playful. So that's what, if you look at the murals that I do, they're pretty simple, easy to understand. It's more like, I would say, a play of color and texture. That's what it is. And I like to use, the kind of materials I use is pretty unconventional. So I would not use a brush, but then I would use a palette knife or pretty much anything I can get my hands on, maybe found objects. Color and texture are these two important things that play a huge role in my art. So I use those tools. I use a palette knife, I would use anything. I could even use a bubble wrap or something to create texture and use a lot of vibrant colors. The impressionistic art, that is what I was inspired by. So masters like Monet or Van Gogh. So these were like artists that I used to look at their work, and that's the kind of style that I like to do. Actually, that's how I got into working with a palette knife instead of a brush. So everyone traditionally would kind of go towards using a brush, but then I started using my fingers or using the palette knife or even popsicle sticks, and these kind of things happened because of the style that I saw, and I wanted to kind of imitate that. It's, I would say, from my experience itself, like when I definitely started with making smaller paintings, and that's how I started. I also did a little bit of pottery, so I liked the tactile nature of it. And when I took mural as a major subject, that's when we had to actually draw like smaller sketches and then kind of expand on that. Like they would tell us, okay, this is the wall and this is where you have to now kind of transfer your image onto. And that's when I realized that I actually like the freedom of that space that I get instead of doing it on a like smaller frame. And another thing was that I thought paintings are pretty one-on-one kind of thing. So a person comes and sees the painting and that's it, and that's how they respond. But I think a mural, it kind of is, it draws in a lot of attention, draws in more, I think it's more inviting and welcoming. Also, another thing about paintings is it's like it's in a gallery or it's in these spaces where I think people are a little bit hesitant to kind of respond to it or interact with it. Whereas I think the minute they see a mural, they're immediately like, there's no, what do you call, limitation on how they can react or respond. They can even touch it probably. But as for paintings, I feel there's still that kind of distance that they have to keep. So I think murals is where I kind of lean towards because of all these things.